So we all know Chad, we all know Mandi, we all know Judy, but Chad holds a master's in gerontology from the University of Northern Colorado. Thank you, Rifle folks who are listening in right now. Has been the Pitkin County Senior Services Manager for the past 3.5 years. Judy Martin has been the Garfield County Senior Programs Manager for the past 11 years, holds a master's in social work from the University of Washington. Mandi Dicamillo has been, did I say that right? I said it wrong. Dicamillo. I'm so sorry. If I say Dicamillo, then people say it's Okay. Mandi has been the Eagle County Healthy Aging Coordinator at Elgibel for the past 2.5 years. She holds a bachelor's in exercise science from Fort Lewis College. Please welcome our three senior service representatives from Eagle, Pitkin, Garfield County to talk about local resources for older adults.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so that's really bright. Now you can definitely see us. So everybody hopefully has this packet in their bag. And so we do have a bunch of slides, but since we're kind of small and intimate, as we were compared from this morning, we thought very quickly we could overview some of our services. So I will kind of give an overview, and then if y'all have anything else to add, feel free. I don't want to steal your thunder. And so, generally speaking, all three counties provide very similar services. We all provide nutritious meals for seniors or individuals over 60, all based off of donations. Scoot this way a little bit, Judy. And it doesn't matter what county you live in. You can come to any three of our programs. You could get off a plane from Florida today. If you're over 60, you can come into any of our programs for a meal.
And they could do the other.
And reverse. So
Any state.
Any state, for the most part. It really depends where we get our funding from. And that's because we take funding from the state and federal government that makes it that all of our programs, at least nutrition-wise, and some other ones, are only based off of donations. It's so that whoever needs our services or wants our services are guaranteed to get services. So it's a really great, unique thing to kind of put it in maybe not so politically savvy terms right now. It is socialism at its finest. And so we all do our nutrition programs a little differently. I have one meal site up in Aspen. Mandi has one site here in Elgibel. Eagle County has some on the other side of the hill. And then Judy has 7 meal sites in Garfield County. So in your packet, you'll see all those lists of where those are and other information about those programs. But at any time, if you're here or watching in Rifle next week in the future, please feel free to call us, any of us, about questions, if it's nutrition-wise or otherwise. We all three also, in different ways, have fitness programs, exercise classes, if it's yoga or Tai Chi, etc. Some of those examples are in the packet. Some other things that we do are educational programs, maybe not as big as this, or the current size of the room, but different topics in anything either directly related to aging or just things in general that people would really like to learn about, if it's kind of just learning for learning's sake. You guys have anything to add?
No. I think the only area where we're a little bit different, to be honest with you, is transportation, because you both accept AAA dollars for transportation.
No.
No.
Neither of us do.
Neither of you do. Okay, but you still follow the rules, though.
Oh, Eagle County does, Pitkin does not.
Okay. Okay, and Garfield County does not do that. I'm dying. We run Traveler, where it's based off of a disability from somebody that, if somebody is a senior and has chosen, or a doctor has said, or family members have encouraged to give up your license, that's an automatic onto the traveler. We're still going to meet with you if you're over the age of 65. We're going to still meet because we need to know if you have special needs in order to be able to utilize the transportation. Do you need a lift? Can you put the seatbelt on? Can you make it from your door to the vehicle at the curb without any assistance? So that's an automatic on. But otherwise, if somebody is, we have had people want to ride Traveler and still drive. No. If you're driving, you're driving. Once you drive, you're off Traveler. Because we can't. We can't be everything to everybody. And your disability has to prohibit you from utilizing the current transportation mode in your town or city. So if you live right next to the bus stop and you can walk to the bus stop, you should be riding the bus. And if you're over the age of 65 in our valley, you get to ride RAFTA for free. So they do take a photo, and you just have to show them the photo. And we heard today, because I was sitting next to Susan Merrick from RAFTA, and she was saying that a lot of folks, a lot of the drivers, after a while, no longer ask to see your ID. They know you, because you're going to use the system all the time. We have currently 350 riders on Traveler. I'm going to tell you, at the end of last year, we had 275. So we're seeing that what they call the silver tsunami. It's hitting on our transportation. We don't use that term. What do we use, Chad? What is the correct term to use? Just aging is happening.
We're aging well.
We're all aging. That's right. You should do your thing, healthy aging well. And I think the other difference is that Chad actually has a building. Mandi gets a use of a building.
Correct. It's a community building.
You have a community building. I have no building, which is why we have 7 meal sites in different locations in each town. And I'm going to tell you that each of my meal sites have a different feel because of where they're located and who they are. I'm also going to tell you most of my meal sites are run by volunteers. I have over 250 volunteers that actively give their time and energy to senior programs, and I'm blessed because of it.
Our transportation program, we have a 12-passenger bus. It's wheelchair accessible, and we can go door to door, so we can pick you up at your door and take you to our senior site or medical appointments. We do have a parameter, though. We can't go too far. Right now, we're going as far as the Lazy Glen area and then a little bit into Carbondale, but mostly Elgibel Basalt. Yeah, so we can get you to our meal sites, exercise classes, and medical appointments. We also have volunteer drivers, and they help out with medical transportation and other activities, getting seniors to those.
And Pickens County's senior transportation is very similar to Eagle, though we don't use those funds that Eagle does. Our senior van is operated through RAFTA, and so we do have some limitations as far as that. It does do the same thing as Eagle County van does, as far as going to your house, picking you up, and taking you kind of within the parameters as far as timing. And we go down from Aspen, we go into Snowmass Village, and then we go to about Aspen Village area. We also utilize many volunteers. There's a volunteer taking someone to the VA hospital today as we speak, and back to Aspen. So we utilize volunteers much like the other counties do, and trying to get people those fill those gaps that our transportation can't really provide.
I think the other thing that all three of us do is information and referral. We try to keep current on what's happening regarding any kind of senior housing, any kind of new programs or services that are being offered to seniors, and so that we can share that information. And one of the ways we share is that all three of us have a monthly newsletter. And in each of our newsletter, I think we advertise the websites of the other two so that we can tend to link things together as best that we possibly can. And you can get the newsletters, I think, we all three mail if we don't like to. She doesn't mail. I mail.
So do we.
We also do, I send it out via email. We have it available at all the libraries in Garfield County, all the senior housings in Garfield County, and all of my mail sites. What else do we do?
The same
No, or different.
or different? Does anybody have questions that's here? And we'll try to think of questions Rifle may have in the future. But does anybody have questions about services that we may or may not provide, or other things? The other thing, I guess, kind of in connection to what Judy just said, is as far as referral, we all collaborate and partner with quite a few of the groups that were out here today as far as having a table to put on programs together or just share education. So much of what we do, I can speak for myself, I think we'll all do this, is just answer phones and people walking to my office saying, I have this question about fill in the blank. Do you know anything about it? Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. Hopefully, if we don't have those answers directly, we can point you to the right people that we know will be able to answer those questions. Even I get questions about other states.
Right.
Like, how am I supposed to know what happens in Florida? But maybe if you contact these folks in Florida, in whatever city you are, hopefully they'll be able to answer your questions. That we might see that a little bit more up in Aspen because we do have a lot of people that come in and out from different states.
Yep.
But that's something that any senior center, hopefully, or area agency on aging could answer. We get those questions quite a bit, or looking for a resource. I had a call the other day looking for an Alzheimer's support group. And other things of that nature. So however we can connect people, that's really the business we are in. A lot of people think all we do is feed people and like bus people around. Yeah, we do that. And it's wonderful and it's great. But we really try our best to connect people to resources. And if we don't have those answers or don't provide those resources, who do we know who is our friend that does? Right. And how can we get you in contact with them?
I think the other question I get is a lot of folks take vacations and they'll go, is there a program kind of like this where I'm going? So that I'm all the time looking up other communities to find out who has a senior center or who has lunches that they can just tap right into. I think the number one question that I get in regards to our nutrition program is, and I have no control over this, is our guest fee. I want to bring my grandkids with me to lunch, and when I tell them that in Garfield County it is $9.50 for a guest fee for anybody under the age of 60, unless they volunteer. So I'm going to tell you that I have young kids serving plates, and that way they get my volunteers eat for free. So I put you to work. And I'm like, if you will help, we have some people who have problems cutting meat and stuff because of their hand dexterity. I said, would you mind? We have 3 people we have to cut the meats on. Will you cut the meat on the plate and we'll hand it out to people? Yes, I will. There you are. You're my volunteer. So we can work around the system.
We can all, as we have to be, very creative.
But the other thing is, we also work really well with our local partners, because I was thinking at this time of year, you all know about Medicaid open enrollment, right? Because I just saw Mary Moon back there, and my God, if I didn't mention that in Garfield County, we refer all of our folks who want to have to talk with a SHIP provider or a Medicaid counselor to please contact High Country RSVP. And they do the taxes for us. I mean, we're very blessed to have those kind of resources in our communities. So we try not to duplicate services, but we really do try to work with our partners.
And since, kind of speaking to that, since in the Valley there's over 10,000 people over the age of 60, we have to work together. We don't really care about county lines as much, even if we are constrained by them in some ways. But we try our best, and we will continue to work toward how can we better serve the entire Valley and the 10,000 plus older adults and more almost every day in some regard to provide the best services that we can within the constraints that we have. I don't want to speak for y'all, but I think
I think
we
I think
agree.
that was perfect.
Good job.